This Health Minute is brought to you by St. Francis Health. We listen, we heal.
Welcome back. As temperatures rise, so does the risk of heat-related illnesses, and certain medicines can play a big role. So tonight, Mandy Gaither shows you what to watch out for.
High temperatures, heat, and humidity can all affect the body, but some medications can pose an added danger.
Medications that decrease the body's ability to shunt blood out to the skin and then sweat off that fluid to help release a lot of that heat. That's really why they predispose to heat illness overall.
Emergency medicine Dr. Kevin Watkins with Cleveland Clinic says medications that can cause heat intolerance include diuretics, heart medications like blood pressure drugs, antihistamines, decongestants, antibiotics, antidepressants, and antipsychotics.
We worry most about heat stroke, especially when there are heat waves.
Everyone can protect against extreme heat by wearing loose-fitting clothing, keeping your house cool by covering windows, finding air conditioning in a public place if your home doesn't have it, avoiding strenuous activities outdoors in high heat, and staying hydrated.
If you get dehydrated, you're really hurting your body's ability to get rid of that heat as well.
Heat can also degrade medication, so experts say make sure to store medicine properly.
Put it in a place that is, away from sunlight, that is cool, in a bathroom, ideally in a closed area.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.